Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nordic Kitchen. I'm Mindy from Nordic Ware. In honor of our 75th anniversary, we've invited local chefs and celebrities to come join us and make some new memories in the kitchen. Today we are joined by John Kraus. John is the baker, founder, and owner of Patisserie 46, Rose Street Patisserie, and the Bread Lab. John opened Patisserie 46 in South Minneapolis to rave reviews in July of 2010, and in 2016 founded Rose Street Patisserie, both which have become Twin Cities favorites. In 2019, John and Elizabeth, his business partner and wife, opened the Bread Lab, which is not only a production facility, but a training program for up-and-coming pastry chefs. John is no stranger to bakery accolades. He took the 2015 bronze medal at the famed Olympics of Pastry Competitions, was awarded the Patisserie France Pastry Chef of the Year. In 2016, they were inducted into the prestigious Relais Dessert 100-member organization in France. John is the only American-born chef inducted in its 40-year history and has received many Best of awards in the Twin Cities area. John encourages his guests to stay a while, savor a treat, enjoy some conversation, and just be in the moment. Welcome to the Nordic Kitchen, John.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Our hearts and stomachs are thrilled to have you here today.
We better get on it.
All right, you tell us what we'll be making.
We're going to make a classic croissant.
I'll let you do it.
All right. So first things first, the milk and the water. I don't use all milk because with all the butter we're going to put in this, it's about 33% butter, so it's a little strong. My sugar, yeast. This is active yeast, so there's no reason to warm the liquid. In fact, we don't want the liquid to be too warm anyway, because then it starts the fermentation very quickly and then it's too late once you get there tomorrow. Our flour, and I'm just going to mix this delicately to get a kind of a paste, and then the rest of my flour and some soft butter. So we add the soft butter so that it doesn't actually get too tight. The butter coats the gluten that's developed in the mixing. So we have something that's a little bit shortened, but not drastically. And this is going to help with the laminating because we're going to stretch the dough. All right, so we're just going to mix that into a paste and then into a dough. So this is what we end up with. And we're going to let this sit overnight. And then tomorrow we're going to come in, we'll degas it lightly, and then we're going to roll it out and incorporate our butter. So just let this sit here while I prepare the butter. So what we've done is we've taken our cold butter, kind of let it warm up to room temperature, and we're going to essentially make a book with this dough. And if it's too cold, it's not going to laminate very well. So the goal is that the butter and the dough are the same temperature. So we just kind of roll it out into the desired size and shape that we want. So now that the dough has been chilled overnight, we're going to now laminate the butter. And this is a several stage process. So we'll do this 3 times for a classic croissant, and then it'll be ready to roll out and actually shape them and make them. So a little bit of flour, not too much. And if you can see the butter book, basically what we want is the same thickness of the dough and the butter, because we're going to envelope the butter inside the dough. So I'm going to roll this out so it's about twice the size of the butter. And I don't want to use too much flour, because any flour at this point that's not actually mixed in the dough, it won't absorb and you'll get little dry pieces of flour. So it's just enough to keep it from sticking. And we're going to take our butter and we're going to fold this over. So this is enclosing it. Want to make sure that we get all of the ends pinched, just so the butter doesn't come out, because now we want to actually start to roll this out. Little trick is just to kind of press the edges so that we definitely have a good seal. And then we're just rolling. You're not really pressing. If you press, you end up with stuff like this, and this doesn't give you a nice even lamination. So you want to just kind of gently roll, get yourself a little workout. We do what's called a simple turn or a single turn. And there's also a double book fold. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a single turn. So it's about a third and a third. And then you fold that over. And just give it a gentle roll. And we'll do that 3 times. So I put a little mark there to let me know I did one. And then we're just going to put this in the fridge. Now what's important is we've really extended the gluten and kind of beat the dough up a little bit. So now we need to let it rest. The problem is we can't let it rest too long because we've started this fermentation stage. So if this dough over ferments or proofs too much, by the time it actually hits the oven, your croissants are not going to rise in the oven the way you want them to. So we just close that up. Make sure you seal it pretty well. I mean, if it dries out in the refrigerator, you will have a problem with a dry skin. So it won't be a nice even layer. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge and probably let it rest for about a half an hour. And then after half an hour, we'll do the same process again. So again, same system. Single fold. Now the idea is each time you make a fold, you're turning the dough. So I always keep the seam on my right so that I can develop the gluten in all the directions as we progress through the process. And we're just going to roll it out after about an hour or two. Once the dough rests for an hour or two, we're going to roll it out as thin as possible. It's about 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters. I think 1/8 of an inch. Some people ask if they can use pasta rollers. If you have a very big one, you can. Otherwise, it's elbow grease. Now this is where it gets tricky because you can't let this sit too long on the table because everything gets very warm. So we're going to trim off our edges here. And now we're ready to cut and shape our croissants. And with the scraps, we never throw away the scraps because we keep those to make what's called monkey bread. You mix them with a little bit of sugar, cinnamon, honey. And now we're ready to shape. Now what I like to do is give a little cut in the bottom, about 1 inch up the croissant. So what we do, you give a little stretch. And I like to seal it to the table so that I don't. And just kind of push outward. Not a lot of pressure, and then on the final roll, right when you get to the very end, it's not very strong. You want this to kind of rise, and if you're really tight, it won't let the croissant grow. So again, right about there, I just kind of stop pressure and just gently let it come over. And then this is always on the bottom. So one of my favorite memories in the kitchen is always around Christmas with my mother. She's a great baker, actually. And one of her things that she would do is, first, she's Sicilian, so lots of Sicilian cookies and things, but she somehow inherited a English, probably from the Welsh side of my family, but it's an English pudding spiced prune cake, fruit cake. And these things weigh like 28 pounds but she would bake it in the Nordic Ware classic bundt. So she would bake those, and I mean like 30 of them every year to give away to her friends. We still get them via post, and the box itself weighs 25 pounds. But the smell in the kitchen reminds me of Christmas and my mother. The smell is intoxicating, and it's one of those things when you smell it, you know it's Christmas, right? So that was probably my fondest memory. All right, so now we've put them on a tray. I give it enough space that they're gonna double in volume. What I really like is this pan from Nordic Ware. It's a perforated sheet pan. And the key with lots of small products, and small by the size of your fist, it needs to bake quickly, but efficiently. And what's nice about a perforated sheet pan like this is, especially in a home oven where the heat is sometimes questionable, it really bakes evenly and fast. So why am I concerned with baking fast? Is in a home oven, the tendency is some things dry out before they actually get color. And with viennoiserie and laminated doughs, you want to keep the interior moist and the exterior crispy, so you make a mess when you eat. So the goal here is to do that within about 16 minutes at 375 degrees. The beauty of a perforated sheet pan is that it's going to maintain the heat from the bottom, and it's all going to bake evenly and very quickly. And efficiency in baking is the key for small viennoiseries. And that's the same for things like a simple brioche or a small bun, anything smaller than your fist. All right, so next step is egg wash. We egg wash our croissants because that's going to give it a nice, beautiful shine. Our egg wash is 1 egg, 1 yolk, a pinch of salt, and 30 grams of heavy whipping cream. Now the key here is you don't want to crush the layers, so it's basically just a gentle back and forth. And it does seem a little bit arduous, but that's how you make beautiful viennoiserie. So we'll put this in the oven to proof for about an hour, and then I'm going to bake it. We've proofed our croissants now for about an hour and 10 minutes. Then we preheated the oven to 400. They're ready to go. As soon as I open the door and put them in the oven, I turn it down to 375. And that's when we set our timer. 15 minutes is probably a good starting point, just to be cautious. It could be 20 minutes, could be 25 minutes, but what you're looking for is a good color. And we've got that right now, so I'm just going to take them out of the oven. We're going to let them cool. Everyone wants to eat them hot, but they're much better after about an hour. Well, Mindy, here they are.
Wow, those look fantastic.
I think they're going to be delicious, but in half an hour.
All right, well, they look and smell fantastic, so I can't wait to try them. We want to thank you for being here and creating some new memories with us in the Nordic Kitchen today.
Absolutely my pleasure.